Alright guys, so in today's video, I'm going to do a tier list on Genshin Impact's current patch 1.3. At the time of this recording, this is 19 February 2021. This is going to be my February tier list on what I generally think are the best characters in Genshin Impact so far. Now, do remember this is opinion based, but I'll try to make it as objective as possible based on how I tested and how I saw like how much damage they do, how useful they are in a team, how viable they are, how much they support your team. Now, I am going to be looking at this from a free-to-play perspective, so most of these characters are going to be pretty like C0 or C1 or C2 at most. So yeah. And before I get into this tier list, it would really help me a lot if you guys like the video and subscribe. If you like the video and subscribe, you are going to get a free donut. Don't ask me where you get the donut. It's just free. You'll get it. I'll mail it to your house. Trust me. So let's begin. So first off, Amber. Very sadly, she's in C tier. She just doesn't work without constellations. You need her constellation 2 for her to actually start to be viable, but even then it's still kind of a stretch. Now Albedo. Albedo is really good. He basically does everything that you want. He can be an amazing support. He can be an amazing sub DPS thanks to his E. He can be your amazing main DPS because his ult is so powerful. He's just all around super powerful. And also his extra passive of giving extra weapon materials is so good because it saves you so much resin in the long run. Albedo is really good. One of the best units in the game still, in my opinion. Just because he does so much, he fills so many roles. So as a free to play, having him will bring so much value because you can fit him in almost any sort of team scenario and he'll work. Now Kamisato Ayaka, I'll put her at the end because her details are 100% gonna change because her details currently are super old footage. So honestly, we'll look at her later. Barbara she's a good healer, but she's the worst healer. Mainly due to her E. Her E applies wet on your character, which can get really annoying a lot of times. Because if you're fighting an electro enemy or a cryo enemy, they can electro charge you or freeze you. Because Barbara applied wet on you. And it's just really annoying. Her ultimate is also really slow because it's super expensive. And she doesn't really generate much energy. So yeah, she's not really that good at all. But I guess she's a free healer, so most people have to deal with her. Unless you have other healers. Now beidou. Beidou is really good. Really good. If you can play her optimally, she's easily in the S tier. However, for a lot of people, it's kind of hard to actually play her optimally. Because you want to do perfect counters with her. Her counter is already really strong by itself. Her ult is also really nice too. However, if you can perfect counters with beidou where you press the E right on the frame where the enemy attacks, your beidou is going to go through the roof and she's going to be absolutely crazy. But right now, since the meta is kind of about how fast you can do Abyss, unless you can play beidou optimally, she's top tier A for now for most people. Now Bennett he's really good. A lot of people already know. Bennett is amazing. He's a great healer. He can boost your attack, which he's basically the only one that can boost other teammates' attack. And also he's actually a really good damage dealer if you build him for DPS. Like, I'm not joking when I say that Bennett DPS can actually almost match Diluc's DPS. It has more to do with the fact that Bennett is really, really good. His modifiers are actually really high. And Diluc is actually pretty overrated. That's quite controversial, isn't it? But we'll get into that soon. So Bennett's just really good. His only drawback is his heal only goes up to 70%, which sometimes it's kind of awkward because you want your heal up to 100%. But he's just really good. His attack bonus is so nice that he's instantly in the S tier, just no questions asked. I do think Albedo is better though, just because Albedo fills in so many roles. And also there's no direct competition for him. He's just whereas Bennett, he has another healer that's kind of direct competition with him because the other healer, while she does not give attack bonus, she basically does almost the same thing. So chonyun. Chonyun is a really good cryo support. If you build him, he can also be a really good cryo DPS. However, to make him DPS, you don't really need constellations either. Actually, I was gonna say you need constellations for DPS Xiaoyun, but you don't. He's just all around pretty nice to use. Now Diluc. Diluc is actually pretty overrated because almost everybody who says that Diluc is good on YouTube, especially, are the whales who have Wolf's Gravestone and have like insane artifacts. Diluc with a free to play build actually is very underwhelming because his damage is actually not that high, surprisingly. I was also surprised when I actually like tested a Diluc, which by the way was really strong, way above free to play artifacts, way above free to play level artifacts. However, the weapon was prototype archaic, which is basically the best claymore for free to plays because currently the claymores in this game aren't that good for free to play at all. And Diluc just doesn't do enough compared to like, for example, Klee. Klee just, even if you don't play Klee optimally at all, she outdamages Diluc so much with the same build. It's just crazy. And now you might be wondering, what about Diluc Vaporize and Melt? Diluc Melt doesn't really work because Chongyun, while Chongyun can kind of work with Diluc, the problem is Diluc's ultimate gives him Pyro Infusion, and it's not removable, which is pretty dang annoying because Diluc's Pyro Infusion is not affected by Chongyun's cryo infusion at all, so you can't inflict the cryo for melt for a very long time because the infusion lasts pretty long, which kind of sucks. So if you're using Chongyun, you're relegated to only using his E, which makes his DPS fall even more, honestly. And you could use Ganyu to help Diluc melt, but the problem is Ganyu can easily do more damage than Diluc. It's not even close. So there's no point, honestly, in supporting Diluc with Ganyu when Ganyu can do like over twice his damage with zero effort, not even with a melt composition. And for Vaporize, right? You could just do the exact same thing with Klee. Klee already does way more damage than Diluc. Like Diluc with Vaporize only barely catches up to Klee, and just put Klee with some Vaporize, and she's already just gonna leave Diluc out of the water. Same with how Ganyu already does so much more damage than Diluc, and Ganyu has xinagling, who is so amazing for pyro inflicting that Ganyu can basically get melt super consistently all the time, no questions asked. I have to speak about this pretty long because a lot of people actually think Diluc is like still the best DPS, which he's just not. If you have him with Constellations and Wolf's Gravestone, then he's gonna be insane because Wolf's Gravestone is just a really good weapon, and his Constellations are also really good. But him at base as a free to play is actually pretty weak compared to like Klee free to play and Ganyu free to play. And I'm also comparing him to Klee and Ganyu because Diluc's only role in this game is DPS. He can't be a support at all. His kit doesn't allow it. He can't really be a sub DPS either. But yeah, moving on because I'm trashing Diluc a lot. The more I test him, the more I just feel like he's very underwhelming. Now Diona. Diona sounds nice on paper, but when you actually put her to practice, She's not that great. Her healing is nice. However, her ultimate, again, is pretty dang expensive. And her shield breaks too easily for me. I mean, if you build your Diona really high, her shield can survive a lot, which is pretty nice. But often it breaks super fast, so it's just like, she's... I'm not sure about Diona, honestly. I'd probably put her there. Now, Fischl. Fischl is really good. I'll probably put her here. Because Fischl is a really good main DPS. She can do a lot of damage. She's one of the only physical carries in this game. So, yeah. She's also an absolutely amazing support because of her Oz. Her Oz is amazing support. Because it applies Electro very, very so often. And Electro is basically the most versatile element in the game. You can do Overloaded, you can do Electro Charge, you can do Superconduct. Fischl's Oz is just really nice to have because it's, again, passive damage. You don't need to do anything. You just press her E and then you get extra damage, which is... And Fischl at this point, Fischl's just really good. She's also free too, which is great. Now, Ganyu. Ganyu currently is the best DPS in the game. There's no question about it at all. Ganyu currently is the best DPS in the game. By far. Just without any kind of setup, she's already going to do absolutely insane damage. She's doing damage that is... Yeah, like, a lot of people say that Xiao has the highest damage during the burst. But Ganyu can also do that kind of damage. She can basically do the same kind of damage that Xiao does on his burst. Except Ganyu's much cheaper because the bows in this game are just much better than spears. Like, the prototype crescent for Ganyu is basically almost equivalent to a 5-star weapon. Whereas 4-star weapons for spears, all of them suck. Honestly. They're just not good. So, yeah. And the best part is, Ganyu can do so much damage, and there's basically no drawback. For Xiao, there's a humongous drawback of his energy, which makes him very not favorable for free-to-play. Whereas for Ganyu, just slap her with a prototype crescent, and then she's going to absolutely destroy almost anything in the game currently. She's just pretty insane. And also the fact that she's cryo also gives her a big advantage because of xingqiu. Xingqiu is insane. There's no character in this game. Well, I guess Kaeya could be similar. But there's no character in this game like xingqiu. Because what xingqiu can do is basically she can apply pyro so often that it's so easy to get Ganyu's melt. Which is quite a big difference from Diluc and Klee, who are DPSs that can do Vaporize. However, Vaporize is pretty inconsistent for them because oftentimes what happens is you Vaporize for xingqiu instead. You use xingqiu, but your xingqiu swords will be the ones vaporizing oftentimes. So yeah, Ganyu's just there. But I have said this since January. Hu Tao is the best DPS in the game currently. Hu Tao is the absolute best DPS in the game, hands down. Looking at her leaks, I've said this since January that she's gonna be the best DPS in the game. I said that Hu Tao is going to be the best DPS in the game, and I stand by that still. I think Hu Tao is just going to be the best DPS in the game for quite a while. She's just really, really strong. Her kit is a bit too strong right now. But, I mean, there's one character that... Hu Tao is not power creep. Because one character is still reigning supreme over everyone. So, anyways, Jean. Now, remember when I said that there was a healer that can almost do the exact same thing that Bennett does? That's Jean. Jean's heal, while Jean does not have attack bonus, Jean can heal you fully. She can clear debuffs constantly. And she also has, just like Bennett, her E is also pretty strong with a really low cooldown. her charge attack specifically is actually also pretty strong. It has a pretty decent multiplier. And a really important part about Jean is the fact that she can do fall damage. Now, fall damage, if it's applicable anywhere, it's absolutely broken. Like for example, in the previous abyss, and even in this abyss floor 12 chamber 2, where there are electro mages and pyro fatui agents, Jean's fall damage is going to out DPS almost everyone, just because the fall damage can do so much, and you don't even need a good build at all, even because fall damage scales on enemy HP. So you just slap a Jean, you don't need to put anything on her, and then you just do fall damage against enemies that can actually take fall damage, and then voila, you have an extremely strong main DPS. Jean's really, really nice. She's, in terms of pure healing, she's the best healer in the game. In terms of general healing, where like you want to heal but you also want to get attack, Bennett is the best. But these two are just the best healers in the game, Bennett and Jean, no doubt about it. Now Kaeya, I have softened up to Kaeya a little bit. I'll probably put him here actually, because his physical is pretty strong. His E is really nice. It's really short cooldown, it generates good energy, and his ult is also really nice for cryo support. So that's really good. Keqing, I would probably put here. Keqing is really fun to play. Keqing is also pretty strong. Although, sadly, I have not gotten the opportunity to play her at like an endgame build. I've gotten the opportunity to play every single one of these characters at an endgame build, except Keqing. And of course Ayaka and Hu Tao. Even with the stuff that I see, I'm pretty impressed by Keqing. Keqing is pretty strong. And also the fact that she's Electro is honestly pretty nice for me. Because she can do superconduct, she can do electro charge, and she can do overload. Now, a lot of people actually underestimate electro charge and overload, because electro charge and overload can actually do pretty good damage. And Keqing can proc those super, super often. And also Keqing is really easy to build too, because multiple artifact sets work on her. So she's just really nice all around. And also 4-star swords in this game are pretty nice because of Harbinger of Dawn, the 3-star sword. The 3-star sword, Harbinger of Dawn, is actually, honestly, in my opinion, better than the 4-star swords. As crazy as that sounds, it's like, if I had to rank it, the Harbinger of Dawn specifically, I would have to rank it as a weapon that's 4.5 star because it's just so strong. It gives you crit rate and crit damage. It's pretty crazy. Now, yeah, I think Keqing is there for now for me. Now, Klee is the second best DPS in the game. So I guess I could put her here. Yeah, because Klee is really strong. She's, even without playing her optimally, she will still be the second best DPS in the game. Because she just does so much. Her kit is basically built to be DPS, just like how Ganyu is built to be DPS. So yeah, now xingqiu is really good as well. I probably don't need to talk much about him because we probably already know. Xingqiu has some insane burst capabilities, and he's just an amazing water support. So yeah. Now Lisa is actually pretty good as well. However, you need quite a bit of investment to actually see her perform really well. So she has to be there for now. Now Mona is actually pretty underrated. She's really good. She's a top tier support for sure, 100%. Because what Mona does, her E can activate constant hydro, which is good for pyro characters such as Diluc, Klee, Hu Tao, and also Ganyu if you want to run freeze comps. But her ult is so good. Her ultimate is so good because it does so much damage, and it has the Omen debuff, where you basically get free 50% extra damage for 5 seconds. For any attack that you do, just free 50% damage, which is so good. And it lasts 5 seconds. And also, Mona's ultimate is also really easy to get as well, because one of her passives is she converts energy recharge to hydro damage bonus. So you want to give her an energy recharge build. And by giving her an energy recharge build, you're just getting her ult really often. It's just Mona's just really, really good because she just does so much burst damage, and she's also a top tier support at the same time because you just get 50% damage for free for 5 seconds every now and then. Now Ningguang, I would probably put Ningguang on the top of A tier right now, because when people talk about how overpowered Ningguang is, they're mostly talking about Ningguang at C2 or C6. Ningguang at C2 or C6 is insane. She's easily in the S tier. However, at C0 and C1, I would have to put her at A tier for now. But if you have her C2 or above, she's definitely S tier. And while I'm at it too, Fischl C6 is S tier, beidou C4 and above is S tier. Yeah. Okay, so Noelle. Noelle C6. Noelle C6 is S tier. However, Noelle, without her C6, is probably somewhere here, to be honest. After the Geo Abyss, it really opened my eyes to how good Ningguang actually is practically. Because Ningguang's AoE is so wide, it does really good damage too. Especially with the new Geo Resonance, and the fact that her shield was also buffed. It makes her really nice. Yeah, she's just really nice. If you have her C6 though, she just becomes a beast. Now Qiqi. Qiqi is a healer, but Qiqi just can't compete against Bennett and Jean because other than healing, she doesn't really do anything. And her healing is honestly kind of inconvenient too, because it only heals one character at a time. Now, this is also another reason why I really like Jean. Jean's heal will heal your entire team. You pop her ultimate, and then it just fully heals your team to max, no matter what. It's crazy. And Bennett's one, he does heal one character at a time, but that attack bonus makes up for it. Qiqi doesn't really have anything. And also, her ultimate does lifesteal, but it's so expensive. It's 80 energy cost. It's really expensive. You won't see it that often. And her E as well, it has so huge downtime. I don't know why, honestly. Like, the downtime for her E is just too much. And like her heals only heal one character at a time, which as a pure healer, it honestly falls flat. Especially in Genshin Impact Abyss, where you want to clear as fast as possible, you want to heal as fast as possible. That's why I love Jean so much, because you pop her ult, heals immediately, everyone. And it also continuously heals pretty well too. So yeah. Anyways, Razor. Razor is a really good physical main DPS carry. Enough said. He's very straightforward. Just really good physical DPS. Now Rosaria. Rosaria actually seems really, really good for a 4-star, even without any consolations. Gonna be really good. Just yeah. Anyways, also Sucrose. Sucrose is. I might have to put Sucrose in S honestly, because when it comes to crowd control in this game, there are really only 3 characters: Anemo, Traveler, Sucrose, and Venti, that can like control your enemies and pull them in from like far spaces, which is really important if you're playing Abyss. So yeah, sucrose is very important. Just for that alone, honestly. Now, child. Child is also pretty good. At C0, his E actually does really good damage. And his ultimate is really strong too. Like super strong. It does so much burst damage that I think it's okay to put him here. I think I'll probably put him, yeah, probably here's a good spot, I guess. Yeah, I think so. Now, Anemo Traveler. Anemo Traveler. Now, I did say that Anemo Traveler is one of the only units that can actually like crowd control, but her crowd control is significantly weaker than Sucrose and especially Venti's because her tornado is pretty dang limited. It only moves in one direction and it also moves pretty far, which is pretty annoying most of the time. Her E is pretty nice. It taunts enemies, but outside of that, she doesn't do that much. So I'd probably put her somewhere here. Yeah. And now for Geo Traveler, I probably put Geo Traveler probably here because Geo Traveler scales really well. He scales really nicely, and especially with the new Geo Resonance buff, now he can dish out like tons of damage. Also keep in mind that the Traveler they the Traveler get C6 for free. However, the constellations don't actually do that much. Like really, the only notable constellation from the Geo is his first constellation, which gives crit rate plus 10% for anyone inside his ult, which is actually pretty significant. And the Anemo Traveler constellations are pretty nice. Reduce resistance. Actually, with that reduced resistance, I might bump her a bit up. Maybe I'll do this. Yeah, okay, I'll do this. Now, Venti. Venti, just broken. I don't think I need to state why at this point. He's just way too broken. His ultimate is just way too broken. Enough said. Now, Xiao. Xiao, I honestly, Xiao, he can do good damage. He can do really good damage on his ultimate. However, he needs his ultimate, otherwise he doesn't do anything. If he doesn't have his ultimate, he can't do anything. And his ultimate is really expensive at an energy cost of 70. You basically need Anemo support, otherwise you're never going to get it. And you also need a healer too. Now, HP drain is not a problem if you have a good healer. However, if you don't have a good healer, then it's quite a problem. Because you need to factor in the fact that HP drain will also make your HP lower against like floor 12 enemies. And the floor 12 enemies, if you're not careful, you're going to get one shot. If your HP is not like 100%. No, yeah, I don't So overall, Xiao is great. Xiao is really nice. Xiao is a really nice DPS. However, he needs his ult to actually like do damage, and there's just too much downtime, honestly. So I can't really play. I don't feel comfortable placing him any higher than this, honestly, because his drawback is just way too huge. And also the fact that he's a Nemo as a DPS is kind of weird, because he's selfish. You don't want to switch off him when he has ult, but Anemo is supposed to swirl, so it's just confusing. Anyway, Xinyan. Xinyan is also in a pretty weird spot, honestly. Xinyan, unless you have her C2, is not that strong, actually. Even Xinyan with her C2 is kind of strong, however, I'd probably put her somewhere here. Because while she can do a lot of damage, she's very gimmicky, and she's also actually really hard to play properly. So yeah. I'm gonna put Xinyan there for now. Now Zhongli, I'll put Zhongli right next to Albedo. I think it fits. Because Zhongli now basically also has very similar roles to Albedo. Because he can fit anywhere. And now his shield is really strong. He can face tank a lot of things with his shield nowadays, which is really nice. And also the minus 20% resistance to enemies is so strong. You can pluck that on any team and it'll work amazingly. Because that 20% is humongous. It's basically a 20% damage bonus most of the time, which is absolutely great. And now Xiangling. Xiangling will probably... Now with the release of Ganyu, I actually quite like Xiangling now. Because now I realize like how often her pyro infliction can actually activate, and it's just so good when you combine it with like any cryo character or any hydro character that can do damage. It's great. And also her DPS is also not bad either. She's also really good. Just in general. Now last but not least, Ayaka. Now Ayaka, I would probably place somewhere here, honestly. Maybe a bit higher. Maybe this high. I don't see her being any higher than this with her current details. Because, like, her details aren't... She doesn't actually seem that strong to me. However, that could change because... That's definitely gonna change because that's really old information. It's like from the first closed beta test. It's very old information. So yeah, this is my tier list. I hope you guys found this informative. If you did, please like and subscribe. And if you think I'm wrong anywhere, please feel free to comment below your opinion. And bye bye.